welcome back to another Coach Dave Academy lap guide. My name's Bart, and today we'll be looking at the Brands Hatch GP circuit in the FIA 4 car on iRacing. Here's the hot lap. Brands Hatch, here it is. Brands GP, not messing around with the Indy track here. All right, turn one. Turn one, high-speed corner, also known as Paddock Hill Bend. It is quite scary in real life. Fortunately, we're on a sim, so we don't crash and burn when we go into the outside wall. And it's actually, to be honest, it's still quite difficult and a bit intimidating because to be quick here, you have to brake quite late, very late, and brake as the track isn't really straight in a car like this in a single seater, and also carry a lot of speed. So it is very tricky and it's very easy to get it wrong. I feel like the biggest trap with Paddock Hill Bend is usually the fact that, well, first of all, people brake a little bit early here, and they're not quite on the white line positioning wise. They're not on the white line because it's not straight. As we go back here, you see it's not straight, or it's turning the whole time. Which makes it a bit tricky, yeah? Especially when it's blind, you can't see it very well. So my advice, especially if you're new to brands, very early, please get to the white line. I'm a bit cheeky on this stuff. I'm a bit late. Really, I would prefer, for consistency's sake, to be on the white line here, because then you're pointing down this way. If you get to the white line like just too late, a bit later than I do here, you're in big trouble, because you're not going to have time to turn the car to actually face, towards the inside of the corner. You're going to be pointing out here. You're going to be braking roughly in this direction. See, if you don't fully get to the white line and get the angle right, you're going to brake, you're going to touch the grass, and then it's not going to go well. So that's the first thing. Positioning, super important. Be hard on that. Yep. Second thing, try and get the car as straight as possible when you hit the brake. That's, kind of something you want to do everywhere, but just be aware of it here because it's quite important. Okay, for me, so the white line is here, kind of goes out a little bit here and comes back in. So if you just point that way, you're going to end up shunting or turning a lot under braking, which means you're probably not going to stop the car very well, brake early. We're going to get some other issues. So what I prefer, point the car kind of towards this green. There's an AstroTurf runoff area, service road. Actually, it's where you drive through to get to the pit lane before the gate closes. But what you really want to do here is try and get the car straight. I try and just get a few car lengths, what I call a flat car, or just a straight car, so I can get some good braking, nice efficient braking, and then turn the car in. So let's just try and aim, okay, get this little straight section, come off the brake, turn in. Because there's all this stuff going on. If we can just have a little bit of, okay, consistently just calm it down a little bit and cut nice and settled on the entry. Easier said than done, obviously. But from there, we can be consistent and be quick as well. All right. So brake. Don't brake too hard. You'll notice, watch my brake pressure. There's a little bit of a peak initially. This crest often upsets the car a little bit if you smash the brake. So it's tricky, but it's still try to be quite efficient. It's not like this super soft brake. You can brake harder than you think here for a high-speed corner. It is a decent brake. You will need to actually get the car to turn, so please just be aware of that. It's just not very long, is the way I would describe it. Okay, So medium, pretty decent brake, just not for very long. Off quickly, you see once you reach about where the green is here, turn in, nice and late on this occasion. Down to 5th gear. You shouldn't be hitting this apex curve. Let's see if I do here. I just about graze the edge of it, but you don't want to be all over the top of it. If you're on top of it, it means you're probably in a bit early, or you need to pick up throttle, push the car away from the apex, because that curve just kind of pushes you wide. It doesn't hook you around too well unless you're in a front-wheel drive car or something. So, yeah, my advice would be if you're hitting the inside curb, brake a little bit later, carry a bit more speed. So at the point where you pick up throttle, you're not on the inside curb, yeah? Because, okay, I'm going towards the inside curb, now I'm on throttle. Well, actually, you can see I'm on throttle here, very early. Throttle. And please try and look up early to be here. I think a lot of people are fight the edge of the track here. Also on iRacing, very, very, very friendly track limits, which we'll get to in some other places. So here you can go all out to the gravel, same grip as the tarmac, I promise, no off tracks. Only if you dip a wheel on the gravel. And even you can dip a wheel on the gravel and not get off track, it's just a bit slower. All right, so full throttle now. And one more thing. It's not vital to get the full throttle early there. It's just not important. The exit's not that long. You're in 5th gear. Doesn't matter. Try to push your braking and get part throttle early to keep that speed up through the corner, keep the car responsive and dynamic. If you get to full a little bit late, not the end of the world. All right, Druids, turn 2. It's a hairpin. Not that much to say. Uphill braking, and then it goes over a crest. Main thing here, be efficient. Be late on the brakes. It's a very long corner. If you're early, you get punished a lot. I feel like you're always too early here, even if you're as late as possible on the brakes. What I mean by that is you can brake as late as you can without running really wide, getting the car rotated correctly, and it still feels like you get on throttle and you just got understeer on exit because, oh my god, the corner's still going. So that's the challenge with Druids. You can get a lot of time by being good here, like a lot of time. All right? So some people really point the car in aggressively. I'm not super big on that. So I don't point the car in with this red bin here, this bit of here where you kind of go to the white line. I point the car this way because I think you can't be as efficient on the brakes, and also I don't want to be that tight. Turn just before you go into the bridge. That's 50-meter board. Braking just before that. Really hard on the brake, like really, really hard initially. Down to 3rd gear, and then down to 2nd quite late. So watch with the braking. I'm really trying to focus on efficiency initially. And then as I go over this crest, you got to come out of the brakes because you're basically going over a crest like this. If this is the road and this is my car, it goes like this. The front tires are in the air. It's an exaggeration, but you understand what I mean. So they're going to lock if I hold the same pressure. I have to come out of the brake. So watch my brake trace off as we go over the crest. If you don't, that's why you're getting front locking here, or you've got too much lock on. So try to keep it as straight as possible, as I do here. As you go over the crest, again, you're not going to be able to brake. So I kind of just like let the car turn a little bit, because you should have done most of the braking anyway at this point. Down to 2nd gear. Down to 2nd gear. You don't need to be all over the white line here. You can actually run the curb as well on iRacing. It is quite friendly sometimes for rotation. If the car's got like a lot of understeer, if it's fixed setup, maybe you want to use the curb, just hook the car around and get on throttle with it. But I think ideally in a perfect world, probably not. You probably would rather run the car and try and delay your minimum speed to your slowest point in the corner as much as possible here. Push the car in deep. I don't mean deep as in out here somewhere. I mean this way. So we don't end up just having a big lift on throttle and getting on and off, because that's what we're trying to avoid ultimately, is that time wasting of the corner. All right. So I just try the braking a little bit, get some throttle on, and the car should come out nicely to the edge of the track there. Nice and early positioning. Oh, this is like one of those corners, a bit like Paddock Hill here, where it's so important. You're going to see it for a lot of the track. Where you put the car in the entry is a lot to do with how consistent you are in terms of where the car actually is when you hit the brake. And that allows you to push the corners and learn faster. If you don't do this basic building block right at Brands Hatch, you are in a pretty bad position, okay? Because of the white lines, grass on a lot of corners, high speed, a lot of things come at you quite quickly. Get the basics right, position correctly on all your entries, be consistent with where you're looking. Okay, so with that in mind, here we have this AstroTurf. A bit annoying because in real life the curb's a little bit longer, but this AstroTurf, for some reason, is as grippy as the tarmac. I know it looks like grass. It took me a long time to realize some of these bits that actually existed, but it looks like grass kind of, but it's actually as grippy as the tarmac. Annoying thing is there is grass here, kind of where you start braking. So you're going to see in a second. I kind of move on to a little bit as the braking zone goes on, but we like to try and use that for a little bit of extra width on the entry. The big thing here is that we're at the white line where this 50 board is, okay? Because as an example, if I wasn't getting over nice and early, I mean, look how I'm only just come out of Druids and straight away I'm over to the right. Okay, so you straight away think about turn 3. If I'm lazy and I'm slow to get back to the right, I'm over here somewhere, I'm over here. I'm braking like this, or I'm braking that way. Your braking efficiency is going to be terrible. You're going to try and turn, it's going to snap, and you're just making things so much harder for yourself. Please get to the right early, please. All right, brake. It's not, again, not very hard, not very long either. Again, this corner is massively wide on this model. Because the AstroTurf is huge on the exit and extremely grippy for some reason. So with that in mind, this is like a high-speed corner, which is a bit weird because Graham Hill's definitely tighter than this in real life and on other models. But soft brake, quite early in, just the start of the curb. You can use this apex curb. You don't have to hit it. I like it to hook the car around here, partly just because it distance on the inside, just be further left. But also it just hooks the car nicely when you get on throttle. And we've seen that a lot with this car. If you can get on curb, when you get on throttle, it just kind of hooks the car around almost like go-kart style, right? Because the car's got really poor rotation on throttle. All right. Not too much to say with this one. Just carry speed. Carry lots of speed. Get on that curb. Get on throttle on the curb. Use all this AstroTurf. I mean, look here. I'm basically on the grass at this point. It's pretty silly. But yeah, this is no off-track at all. The main way to get off track here is being lazy and staying out. Get back before this little dirt patch here with this AstroTurf end. You see the curb cuts in if it's hard for you to see. All right, so now turn 4 30s. Again, more of this strange Astro stuff. So again, use that. Again, it took me ages to realize that was there. Point in this direction. We're just trying to use this track width because we can't actually brake at this point, but you can kind of use it to angle yourself into the corner a bit better. It's only marginal gain, but we're going to take everything we can. Point the car in towards this direction. Big exit here. Your exit's super important. Down to 4th gear. Not 3rd. I've tried it. It doesn't really work. You don't gain what you lose being such a long corner with the kill you speed off. The speed you kill off on the entry. Braking point is, for me, it's about halfway between... Oh, it's just after the Astro, but it's this little bit here is a good reference where the corner kind of deviates a bit. The white line deviates a little bit here. So I've got the car pointing in this direction when I hit the brakes. Straight under braking, kind of pointing towards the end of the red and white, then bleed out and turn in. You don't want to stay out too wide for too long. It will help your exit if you're a little bit later to the inside, but if you don't make it over here, you just never make it to the apex. What I mean by that is the track kind of falls away or changes camber at this point if you're not in by this bit where the tarmac kind of changes for, from the Indy track direction to the GP. There's kind of a change in tarmac at this point and the way the curb's going here. If you're not in at this point with the camber, it's very difficult to make it back to the inside. So if you want to carry speed, reduce distance, you need to be in at this point. This is on fractionally early. This is on the risk of early side. So I just clipped the curb here, but I'm able to carry speed. I still braked late on the entry. Pick up part throttle there as soon as you can. Be smooth. I think it's a corner where you're going to feel a tendency to brake a bit early, pick up throttle very early, have a lot of lock on when you're on throttle, and still kind of keep it on the track. But you're not going to be able to get to full throttle very quick. And because it's a long exit, that's important. The other thing as well is you'll have a lot of lock on in this car. On iRacing, low powered, if it feels like it's scrubbing, especially if you have a direct drive wheel, you can probably feel the front tires kind of just pushing and sliding, or you can hear them within the game sound. Watch out, because not only going to overheat your tires a bit, but mainly you're going to lose a lot of lap time up the hill. Like, it's not as fast as you think. It can be faster to get on throttle later and just have less lock on. You can't just be yanking the wheel and holding all this lock on. You can see how I'm very smooth the wheel. Let it run on the exit curb. Cool. All right, here, just go in a straight line, reduce distance, come towards turn 5 Hawthorns now. Very uphill. You can see the corner as you go under the bridge there. Coming up in front of you, quite intimidating. Because it's uphill and it's such a long corner, it's faster than it looks. It is faster than it looks. So with that in mind, you see I'm very late when I turn in. See a 50 board there, very good reference. Turning in roughly there. You've also got this end of the barrier here, this little here. Quite useful, I find. Lifting, fractional brake. I tested brake versus lift. Both can work, I think. Obviously, you're going to get more understeer because you're not kind of stopping the car and not putting as much weight in the front if you're just lifting, but you carry more speed on the entry. It's 50-50. The exit's not that long, and your exit speed for this corner is a lot about the speed you just carry and not when you pick up throttle. So try braking, like soft brake to throttle, because even though it's a high-speed corner, and yeah, I lift mainly. I barely brake. I just graze the brakes there for, again, just to help the car kind of turn in a bit. You don't want to just be lifting for a long time. So this is borderline for me. So it might depend on setup conditions, etc., kind of your level. But again, I'd start with a soft brake. But if you're going to brake, don't brake now. Don't brake like straight away. Turn in flat like this and then start to brake as you actually need. You're only braking, remember, to turn the car. You don't really need it to slow down. You can just lift and you won't go off the track. So with that in mind, brake to get some little bit of front grip there. You can see as I kind of do there, just like touch on the brake just to help turn the car. Down to 5th gear, that'll also help. The gear shift helps a lot, delaying that gear shift. Again, you're not braking and turning and downshifting now. Wait till you get into the camber here, fire the car into the camber, carry speed, long corner, got it rotated. This crest here in the middle of the corner, when the corner goes up like this, you're always going to understeer from here. If you're not on the white line at this point, you're never going to make it back, which is why we don't turn any later, brake later than this, because sometimes it feels like I want to, because it feels like I'm always in quite early. But if you're not on the white line at this point, you just end up taking so many extra meters, it's not worth it. Full throttle, yeah, because the car's going to run and rotate for this part. Full throttle, commit, smooth the steering, let the car run out. You can use all this exit curving, run on the grass. It's pretty fine there. Hold 5th gear. No gear shifts for this corner into Westfield now. All right. Bit weird again with the runoff, so we'll mainly talk about that. Braking a bit before the 50 board. It's a high-speed corner again, but it's more like Paddock Hill, where probably the exit's a bit more important than Paddock Hill. But compared to Hawthorne's, it's much more about actually stopping and turning the car than it is about just carrying tons and tons of speed. So with that in mind, it's a decent brake again. Very similar brake to Paddock Hill. Genuinely very similar. Dab on the brake. 40-50%, not for very long. Off, you need to get that rotation initially. If you can make that rotation happen faster and later, the better it is for you. Okay, as late as you can here, while still making this inside curve. And again, this is legal. This is using all the track limits here. You can get it for going the grass here a bit too much, but I managed to be just about safe here. Again, middle of the car in the red and white seems to be a limit. So this is pretty much the limit at this point. This enables you to get on throttle very early if you're aggressive like this. Throttle on the curb. Again, the curb helps to turn the car. That's why I'm taking it. Very soft curb, won't really upset you. What does upset you, you can see here, are these bumps. Watch out for them, but just try and be smooth on the steering. They kind of upset the car, unfortunately. They're your biggest threat. And you can run all the way out to the gravel, but again, it's quite risky judging it on the entry because of the bumps. And then also, I feel like if you run all the way to the gravel here, it's actually quite difficult to get it back and not have too much lock on as well. So running out to about where I am here, using all this runoff is all fine. No off tracks for this at all. All right, full throttle now, keep pinned. Again, another corner positioning super important with the white line on the entry here for Dingle Dell. Really cool corner, high speed, blind, uphill right. So I look here because this is straight. I position to there, come down the bottom of the hill, and you don't need to be on the white line all the way around here. Why are you doing that? There's not really any point, yeah, because you're just turning with the white line, and if you brake while you're turning or position, it's taking extra meters. I don't understand it. You can do it, but I've never really got it personally. I think it's better to look here, and that's where you want to try and line up with the white line, and then you're going to be braking around here, as we'll see in a second. All right. So as you can see, the white line's always turning, and finally goes straight at this point. So that's where you aim for me to meet the white line, is just after it gets straight. Here is your reference route where this Marshall's hut is on the left-hand side. You brake just after you get the car straight. Again, as late as you can. If you can be later here, that's great. That's great. Later, as long as you can get over this inside curb. You can take a lot of this curb again, very aggressive. try to be as soft as possible on the brakes. No exit really in terms of needing to be up throttle early, like a corner like turn 4. So just carry speed. Just carry speed. Get in, row the car through. Get some throttle on the apex curb. That's mainly just to settle the rear. Keep the speed up. Push the car out to the left-hand side. Drop a tire, sure. And then into the second last corner now, Sterling's. Again, another corner, a bit like turn 2, 3, Druids, Graham Hill from early in the lap. We need to reposition straight away. Straight away, you need to be focused on getting here. Your eyes need to be here. And focusing for the apex on the left. All right, so I get the car to the white line just in time, which is super tricky. That's the problem if you over-push Dingledale here and end up on the grass a little bit. You can get away with it and still be quick, but you won't get back for Sterling's. So get the car to the white line before the 50 board. Again, you'll basically be hitting the brake when you get the car straight, just because that's how limited we are with time. This is similar to, again, similar to Paddock Hill and Westfield. It's a very solid brake, but not very long. This is harder than those two, but again, really try and hit the brake pedal here. You can hit it harder than you think. That I think most people believe for a corner that's this fast. So yeah, a decent hit of the brake. Not very long. Down to 4th. I'm in slightly early here. This isn't an off track, but maybe ideally you just want left tires on the red and white. You can definitely use the curb to help turn the car here. There's a lot of understeer in this corner on iRacing. So yeah, there you go. I use a lot of the curb. Mate, again, I'm probably fractionally early on this one, so I probably could have braked a meter or two later. But I still get good rotation off the curb. Full throttle. I found as well that you can get on throttle a bit earlier, push a bit more, and end up on this exit curb. Like, that's fine. And you will be faster through the corner. But I actually found that most of the time you lose more on the exit because the car just does this weird wheel spinning thing. It does. I think it bottoms out a little bit, but mainly it's kind of wheel spinning off the curb and not putting its traction down very well. You lose like half a tenth on the exit-ish, maybe a bit more sometimes, maybe a bit less. I think it's faster if you get it right just to run your right tires up to the edge of the curb rather than all over it. So just putting it out there, I found this was slightly faster than using all the curb. But it just gains at different parts of the corner. Like, do you take more speed in, get on throttle a bit earlier, or do you get better drive down the straight? Up to you. I think this is better, especially considering it's effectively safer, right? You're taking less risks with the white line and with your tires. All right. Very difficult to get to full throttle here. You're always kind of feeding for it. You can see I actually lift out a little bit there, just trying to make sure I don't run over the exit curb because I went there a little bit early. Run it out just like that. Okay, we've got a bit more time on this occasion to get the car back over to the left-hand side of the track. Position again with plenty of time. No point being stupidly late. At least by this 50 board. Get the car on the white line. Braking. You'll kind of turn off in the middle of this service road on the left-hand side. That's pretty normal. Main thing to focus on for clearways is, again, this is a tricky one because, yeah, you want to carry speed, but you also want to focus on your exit a lot. So it's that balance here. For me, the biggest challenge or often mistake here is just being in early. Just feeling like, oh, I'm in really early and just having a lot of understeer or hitting the inside curb. You don't really want to hit the inside curb. I mean, yeah, I clip it here. That's fine. But if you hit this higher part before you reach this apex, this crest, it bounces you wide before you go over the crest. You're going to understeer a lot because, again, the front tires go into the air. You're going to lose front grip. You're going to understeer wide. You're going to get on throttle early. You're going to be fighting the gravel on the exit, or you're going to be lifting out, and that's going to cost you so much time. Much more than being a little bit more disciplined on the entry and just being patient or being later on the break. So the question is then most people just go, okay, I've got to brake a lot later. But then you try to brake very late, you brake very aggressively, the car's out of control on the entry, or you end up missing the apex and never make it. And blah, blah, blah. It's very common here. Or the car's always on a knife edge. Way I'd normally get around it, yeah, okay, there's a point where, you're just braking too early. But once you get to kind of this point where you're braking just after 50 board, main thing for me has always been to roll more speed. Okay, we don't need to initially hit the brake quite hard because you need that rotation, but then bleed out quite quickly. Don't hold on to the brake. Don't overslow the car. You have a little bit, unfortunately, have a little bit of a waiting phase, a little bit of a coast phase here, or maybe a bit where you're not getting straight to full. You need to carry the speed because the best way I can explain it is if I brake more here, at the same point, but I just hold the brake a little bit longer, brake a little bit harder, I turn in exactly the same. if I'm 1 or 2K slower, I'm going to end up meeting the white line here. If I'm a little bit faster, I'm going to meet it around here, because that's just how physics work, right? You're challenging the grip of the tires a bit more. It's not going to turn in as effectively. So you're kind of creating your understeer almost. Or I like to think of it more as you're delaying the point at which you reach the inside of the track by carrying a bit more speed. So that's really important to think about here, because I think that's the only real way you can be consistent in getting decent exits and not having big moments as well on the entry. So that's my advice for clearways. I'm always looking to meet the white line like around here. And that's how you kind of sneak around it, if you know what I mean. You just carry a bit more speed. So you turn in, it feels like you're going to reach inside, but you kind of create the push. You create the momentum to push you a bit wider. It's going to give you a better angle for the exit than if you actually stop the car more efficiently, rotate it a bit more efficiently. But we're just focused on carrying the speed. So keep that in mind. Now, as soon as you've reached this inside bit, try and pick up throttle as soon as possible. You can see I'm very patient not to go to full. And that's not because it wouldn't be fast to go to full. Sure, initially it'd be quite quick, but the understeer gave this crash is horrendous. So again, I'd be quite patient. Now I can go full throttle. Let the car into the white line. The other thing I found on iRacing is you can actually go full maybe now with more lock on. But again, I've seen it on the deltas. You just kill speed on the straight. And it's a little bit weird sometimes, but if you've got all this lock on, you go full, it just stalls the car, almost like a go-kart. So watch out for that. You might be a little bit later if it feels like you just got all this lock on, you just slide in the front tires. And again, it's going to overheat your front tires. Let the car into the white line. Bring the car to the right just to shorten the distance. And that's the end of our lap at Brands Hatch GP. Okay, so that brings us towards the end of the video now. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And you can also find the Coach Dave Academy Discord in the YouTube video description. And that'll get you access to coaching, setups from people like myself and many other fantastic creators on the CDA service. My name is Bart. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week. Bye.